In order to understand what an arpeggio is, we need to understand what a chord is first. Chord is playing 3 or more notes simultaneously. If you play 3 notes at the same time, let's play it higher on our neck, you play a chord. Alright? If you play 2 or more notes, if you play just 2 notes simultaneously, what do you play? You play an interval, a double stop. Alright? When you get to 3-note category, you play a chord. What about this? If you play each note back to back, but you don't mute the previous note, what do you play? This is called a broken chord. Again, chord, a broken chord. Well, what about an arpeggio? If I play those notes one by one, but I'm playing them and muting the previous note, this is called an arpeggio. I'm playing the chord tones, the notes in my chord, one by one, which is called an arpeggio. In most cases and most genres, arpeggio sounds better on our bass. We usually play notes one by one. We are forming a bass line using arpeggios. And also, an arpeggio can span more than 1 octave. You don't have to play an arpeggio for just 1 octave. You can go more than 1 octave. You can go all around your fretboard, and it's all called an arpeggio. The most basic form of chord is called a triad. Triad is set of 3 notes all stacked in thirds. Thirds being as an interval third, major third or a minor third. You get a root note, you play a major or minor third, and then again from that second note you play another third, and then you form a triad. If you play all 3 of them simultaneously or back to back, you play a triad. Triad is the most basic and fundamental set of chords. We have to know how to use them. We have to know the positions on our fretboard and how they sound like. After that, we will move on to more complex notes, but our first step is triads. Now, when the quality of those thirds changes, the quality of the triad changes. Now, let's form a major triad first, and you will understand better what I mean. I take a root note. The note that I stop playing is called a root note. In this case, I'm playing C, the 3rd fret on my A string. Okay? If I go up a third, if you don't know, by the way, what an interval is, you can check out my fundamental music theory section or course, depending on where you are watching this course. Now, when I play C, I will move up a third. I have 2 options. I can go up a major third or a minor third. Let's play major third first. The E note. Okay. After that E note, I'm gonna play a minor third. That note, the interval between this note and that note is a minor third. Okay. Now, I'm playing root note, a major third, from that second note, another minor third. The interval between that first note and that second note, the third note, is a perfect fifth. These are perfect fifth apart, these are major third apart, and these are minor third apart. Now the arpeggio we have formed is this, okay? Root note, major third, and minor third. This is called a major triad. Now, if I switch to order, which means if I play a minor third first, instead of the E, I'm playing E flat now. As you can see and hear, I'm at E flat now. From that note, if I play a major third, I arrive at the same destination again, right? The G. Instead of major plus minor, I'm playing minor plus major. I have to get to the same point. Now I'm playing C, E flat, and G, and this is called a minor triad. Again, major triad, minor triad. Let's play it this way. Major triad, I'm playing that E at the 7th fret of the A string instead of the 2nd fret of the D string. C, E, G, C, E flat, G, major and minor. For the fingering wise, I'm playing my index finger. For the minor one, pinky and ring finger. For the major one, middle finger, index finger and pinky. Next up is diminished and augmented. You can kind of guess how we can form them, right? You have two types of thirds, major and minor. If you add minor plus minor and major plus major, you get different types of triads. Let's form minor plus minor first. Root note, a minor third. From that second note, another minor third now. C, E flat, G flat this time. Okay? It's kind of a darker sounding triad, right? This is called a diminished triad. If I do the opposite, major plus major, C, E, G sharp this time, okay? Or this position, okay? G sharp. This is called an augmented triad. What about the characters? If you compare those triads with each other, you can kind of hear and understand how they sound like and what their characters are. Let's compare the major and minor first and move on from there. If you play a major triad, what do you play? You play a root note, major third, and a perfect fifth, right? I'm starting from the same root note. For the minor triad, I'm playing root note, minor third, and perfect fifth. Now, my root note and perfect fifth are the same for the major and minor, so my third note is different, okay? What's the difference between major and minor triad? It's the thirds. One of them is major, other one is minor, right? So, if you want to differentiate between those two triads, you have to look at their thirds. The thirds give each of those triads their character. If you play a minor third, it's a minor sounding one, a sad sounding, darker sounding one, right? Like a rainy day, you can say. Or root note, major third, perfect fifth is a major one. It sounds like a sunny day. It's a happy sounding triad, right? It's a happy sounding triad. Minor one is kind of sad sounding, like a love song type of triad. Okay, so what about diminished and augmented? For the augmented, I go root note, a major third, and an augmented fifth, right? So the difference between my major triad and augmented triad is my fifth note. One of them is augmented fifth. This note, which means gives the character of the augmented note. It's a major sounding triad. Why? Because the third is major, but my fifth is half step sharper, which kind of sounds brighter, okay? It's a brighter sounding major triad. Major triad, this one, augmented, right? It's a jazzy, more jazzy sounding, more brighter sounding one, okay? That's how we can describe it. For the diminished, root note, minor third, another minor third. From the start, you can say it's a minor sounding triad, right? Why? Because the third is minor. Root note, minor third, then a diminished fifth, okay? If you take an interval and make it half step lower, you make it sound darker. If you make it half step sharper, you make it sound brighter. Here's the information that I forgot to give it to you. So, root note, minor third, diminished fifth. So, it's a minor sounding triad, but it sounds kind of darker than our minor triad, right? Not like a rainy day, but like a horror movie type of sound. Especially that interval, that tritone interval between my root note and this note, the diminished fifth, is kind of a dark sounding, darker, horror movie type of sound, right? So you can use it in this type of scenario. Again, major, minor, diminished, and augmented. These are your fundamental types of, actually all types of triads that you can play. After you learn them, we will construct upon them. This is the foundation of your arpeggios and chord theory. Learn them well, practice them well, learn the theory behind it, try to hear what they sound like and try to internalize them. Then we will move on to the next section.